On today's edition of the Thrive Time Show, we break down the Broken Arrow boom and the super success of the Alli Balli boutique business. That's right. On today's show, Stacy Davis, the founder of Alli Balli Boutique, joins us to share why she chose to open up her business in downtown Broken Arrow. And Mayor Craig Thurmond shares how he has helped to bring the Bass Pro Shop to Broken Arrow and how he has helped to revitalize downtown Broken Arrow, now known as the Rose District. On today's show, Mayor Craig Thurmond explains what role a local government can have in really making the lives of the citizens better or worse. All this and more on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Dr. Z, it is always ecstasy when you are next to me. How are you doing, my friend?
Dude, I am fantastic. You know, I really love it when we do these segments of how to make a city better. Because you know what? So many times we think government and business are so far apart from one another. In other words, you know, government is, well, that's just government. And business, that's just business. And yet, really, they're more similar than not. And people that get it and run a government, i.e. a city, a state, a country,
Right.
like a well-run business is so unheard of. And so when you finally see some of that, you're kind of going,
Unicorn.
that's pretty cool.
Now, you as an entrepreneur and as an optometrist and as a guy who's invested in a bank and a sleep center,
I own a sleep center.
and an auto
I got
auction.
an auto auction. I got a thoroughbred horse ranch. I've got some DME companies.
You're involved in a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
You have decided to support certain political candidates in the past.
Why not? When you find a good one,
Jim
I'm telling you,
Bridenstine.
listen, folks out there. When you find a good one, nobody's going to match up 100%. Just get over that. You're going to have nobody's you,
Right.
unless you're running. Then it's you.
Then you vote. Hopefully, you vote for yourself.
Yes, hopefully
Right.
you'll believe in yourself. But my point is, you find the one that's closest to you, and guess what? Support him. At least minimum vote. And then the next step is financial support. And then you might even, attend a fundraiser. And then you might even host a fundraiser. But be proactive. Our cities, our communities, our states, our country needs us to be involved, because everybody wants to sit back and go, well, that ain't right. That didn't work out well. That's what happened there. You know what happened there is you didn't get involved in the first place, and then you can't complain afterwards.
So we broadcast this show in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. We put out 9 shows a week,
Which is a suburb of Tulsa.
and it makes a whole lot of sense. It's one of the fastest growing. Mayor Craig, are we the fastest growing city in Oklahoma, or the second fastest?
Second fastest growing after Oklahoma City.
Second fastest growing city in Oklahoma. And so we thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and have the local mayor. Let's have him on each week for a while here to ask him the hard-hitting questions,
hard questions
that the average person wouldn't probably get a chance to ask their local mayor. And let's get some local business owners in the city who could be both positively and or negatively affected by a pro-business or not so pro-business mayor.
I love it. And that's what we're about. We're about entrepreneurship. We're about helping people realize their dreams in starting, growing, maintaining a business. Because, folks, it's hard out there. It's not easy to do these things. And we know that. And that's why we're here. That's our heart, is to help you step by step, practical steps, how to start, how to grow. And part of it, you know what? Part of the equation to your success may be, Clay, listen to this. Listen to this.
Okay.
And that is where to do it.
Where to do the business.
Right.
I've heard this phrase called location, location, location.
Well, that's 3 locations.
So we have a guest here on today's show who, Stacy Davis, she has chosen to be in business in Broken Arrow. Now, she could have chosen anywhere else.
She chose.
But she chose to be here in Broken Arrow. And so if you're listening right now and you live in Broken Arrow, visit her business and buy a lot of stuff. Stacy Davis, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, ma'am?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, tell the listeners out there, what exactly do you do? What's the name of your business? What do you guys do?
So the name of our business is Alli, Balli Boutique. We started as a children's boutique named after my daughter, Alli, who we affectionately called Alli Balli when she was little. I started online 10 years ago and decided that I really wanted a storefront.
And when you started Alli Balli Boutique, when you start a business, you have to solve a problem that people are willing to pay you to solve. What problems do you solve, or what products do you provide? What services do you provide over there at Alli Balli?
So, as I mentioned, we started as just a kids boutique. We have grown as our customer base has grown and have requested other things. We've also expanded into kids and now women's. So we sell everything from clothing to accessories, and we also host kid birthday parties in our back space.
How long have you been in business?
I've been online for 10 years, and then I shifted gears a little bit with a storefront 2.5 years ago.
Wait a second. That's kind of the opposite of what the world's doing these days. You started online. You said, you know what? I want a brick mortar face. Why did you make that decision?
Well, I think for me, I did very well online for years, and I loved it. I had a vision to expand my business, which included the brick and mortar. And also, I think business owners, when they have a love for their community, they want to be in their community.
So why did you choose Broken Arrow in the Rose District? What you said? I mean, you could have opened it up anywhere. You're online. I mean, you could have
Because every rose has its thorn.
Every rose
has its thorn. So there's got to be drawbacks to opening up in the Rose District.
What made you say to yourself, you know what? This is my Uncle Barry. Why'd you pick there?
Actually, we love downtown. So we live about 10 minutes away, and I did consider other options. I wasn't sure, but every time we were downtown in the Rose District, there's so many people. There's lots of families.
It's alive.
It's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
And so I just knew that's where I wanted to be. Unfortunately, when I looked, there was no spaces available.
Really?
Uh-oh.
So a lease came available as I was looking, and they actually did a newspaper article on me taking the very last space because everybody wants to be there.
So you did a hostile takeover.
I did.
You walked into a space and said, this is mine.
Yes.
Get out. And you brought the mayor with you and said, Mayor, confirm this. And he said, that's right.
I think that's how it went.
Well, probably not quite that way, I would imagine. But, well, good for you. And do you find now that you're doing more in your brick and mortar or more online?
Brick and mortar.
You know what? Listen, folks out there, everybody's wanting to do this online. I know Jeff Bezos, the Amazon's kind of killing it. I mean, he's
doing well. Jeff is doing well.
I mean, he's probably not missing many of his car payments right now, I would think, okay?
Pretty current.
I mean, he's pretty current on most of his stuff, right?
He's going to get working that 700 credit score here soon, I'm sure.
He's going to break, 700 anytime soon. He's doing fine.
We hold out hope.
So many people are like, just internet. And I love the fact that you went and did brick and mortar, and you're doing more successful with that than you were 8 years on an internet business, right? Tell us about that.
So the internet, I mean, my online business is great. It's still great. But with transitioning into a brick and mortar, I mean, it's scary. I'm not going to lie. It's really scary deciding you want to be in your community in a brick and mortar.
You got to sign a lease. You got to commit to so much time. You got to build it out. You got to stock it. I mean, it's a thing.
It is. And I think if it's something that you want to do and you love business and you love the community, then, for me, it was worth the risk. And so now we're signing our lease again. So
renewing the lease.
That is fantastic. So do you feel that Broken Arrow is a business-friendly community?
I do. I found that, so we're from Michigan, and we just moved here right before opening my brick and mortar store. So
Oh, really?
I hadn't been in the community long.
Wow.
I didn't know much about it.
That's a great story.
Just from being in the area, I knew that I loved the feel of downtown. So
You moved here from Michigan.
Were you
yes.
in the mid or the thumb?
we were do you know where St. Joe area is at? St. Joe, Benton
Is it
Harbor,
mid or
Kalamazoo.
thumb?
I think it's like right here.
Oh, so you're the palm. You're the palm. Okay. My
So-
uncle lives in Brighton outside Detroit, so.
Yeah,
you know.
well, we were originally from the west side, and then we moved to the east side. So
Ah.
we've been in both. We've been all over, but
Yeah.
we relocated here, and we loved it once we got here.
Why did you
So
move here?
My husband took a position at Church on the Move.
Oh,
And
cool.
so
Oh, wow.
we moved our family.
Very good.
Is he a musician?
No, he's not.
Is he a pastor?
He is.
Is he
Cool.
a carpenter? Is it what is it?
You kind of do everything when
Yeah,
you're
sure.
a pastor.
Is his name Sven?
No.
Is he? Wait,
I'm
Sven.
from Minnesota.
We haven't done those characters
Oh,
in a long
don't you
time.
know?
Oh, Sven.
you betcha.
Bjorn.
You're like rhubarb.
You're like Bjorn.
No.
You're
Don't
like
like
Bjorn.
rhubarb.
We haven't
No.
done these guys in a long
Do
time.
you like venison?
No.
Do you
eat cheese?
Do you eat
Yes.
cheese?
I know that's Wisconsin, but they are neighbors.
Have you been up to the Boundary Waters?
No.
Do you like the five? Which
She
is
might
your
not be from
favorite
Michigan.
Of the 5 lakes, do you like the most?
Lake Michigan by far is the best, and we visited there a lot.
Is Tom
Are you biased just
Brady?
because you're from
Yes,
Michigan?
but it is beautiful.
Do you believe in Tom Brady?
I'm not a football fan.
Are you a Wolverine or a Spartan?
I'm not a football fan.
Oh my! That doesn't mean you can't be one or the other.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! You
All right,
got
this
to
is
play
a lot
the
of
game.
tough questions here.
Okay, give her. You know what? Take a mega point away from her. She was
Okay,
doing
I'm
so
gonna take
well.
away a mega point. You had
I
a
mean,
lot
she
of
was
them.
doing
Sorry
so
about that.
well.
Now, if you remember, Z, downtown Broken Arrow 10 years ago, how was that?
Ghetto gang shootings. I mean, I had to wear either red or blue and then run through it. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't what it
vacant.
was.
It was like nothing.
No, I know. It was just kind of like one of those sad downtowns.
It was
of
really
a lot
sad.
of communities that you drove through and you thought, there's a Subway and there's a whatever. and
If I ever wanted to write like a sad country song and I needed inspiration, I would go downtown Broken Arrow
10 years ago.
to get started. Yeah,
But you know what? What's really
it's
cool?
It's upbeat now.
What's really cool is they gave it a name, they gave it purpose, and they revitalized it.
Yeah.
And Mayor Craig over here, I mean, it's pretty sexy.
So
and
Mayor-
all of Broken Arrow, but not just downtown. I mean, Bass Pro Shop is not what I'd call downtown. We got a Bass Pro Shop on Broken Arrow.
So let's talk about. Let's
I mean,
talk
I
about
remember.
This.
I remember in Tulsa,
Yeah.
years ago in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you would drive to Springfield, Missouri. I mean, we're talking 2.5 hours, right, to a drive to attend a place where you could buy fishing poles, shotguns, and camo gear. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's crazy to drive 2.5 hours to go shop for that kind of stuff. And now we have a Bass Pro Shop in Broken Arrow. Walk me through how you did that. What happened? How did that happen?
Well, I mean, we talked to Jimmy Morris about doing that, and that was really he saw that hill, he saw the area, he thought it was really a great place to be, and we it was really kind of tough when he went back and forth. It took a couple of years to really get them to agree to do it, and they were looking. One of his friends owns the Renaissance Hotel, and so they were talking about doing a bridge across 169 and putting it over there where Mathis Furniture is now, and we just convinced him this was the place to be. And worked out a deal with him.
And how did you convince him? What did you do? Did you hold up? I mean, did you tell him you had a shovel and you dig a hole? I mean,
Did you pick it?
Guido?
Did you riot?
Well,
I mean, did you
actually? What we did, which probably whether I should say or not, is we took his drawing that had Bass Pro on it, and we put Cabela's on there, and they were interested in coming here, so we just put their name on his drawing and said, Cabela's is
You
looking
did
at this.
that move.
Yes.
That's kind of a
Oh.
semi. I love that move.
And
it's
he
kind
looked
of
at
if
it
you
and
won't
said,
do it, they will.
Yeah, and he's looked at it and said, well, we need to close on this. So he did. That's what he did.
Yeah, that's very clever, and that is a move. That's a move to say, hey,
It's
listen,
a move.
if you won't, they
Right.
potentially will.
And we had discussions with them, and they were interested. And of course, now Bass Pro owns Cabela's, but at the time they were competitors.
Big competitors.
And so that's one thing we did. We had lots of meetings trying to get this loan because, as you know, there wasn't even a road that went up there. It was just it was just dirt. There
Right,
was nothing
right,
there.
right.
And so we had to get a loan to put a road through there and put infrastructure through there. And then we had to build a building for them. and we build a building, we get lease and sales tax dollars off their building. So we built a building for them, and the developer was going to take the loan, and then Bank of America came and said, we can't. City's got to do the loan. So at the last minute, the city said, we're not going to do this, and I more or less told them, we can't afford not to do this. We got to do this.
Right.
And so we went forward with it. We got the loan. We built the building, and
Good for you.
And so we've got about 5 more years on that loan left, and then they will have to renew their lease. They have 3 options. They can renew their lease, they can move out, which I don't think they're going to, or they can buy the building at the market value today.
How much is the market value of the building today?
Probably around $30 million.
$30 million. Now, who did you get a loan from?
Bank of America.
So the city of Broken Arrow
Got a loan.
got a loan from the Bank of America.
Right.
I love these stories.
And so you guys are 5 years away from having that building paid off.
Right.
And then the taxpayers could get a $30 million
or they'll get $1 million plus a year in lease payments.
Right. It's a win-win.
It's the same reason that private developers do development. Is
let me tell you this, because he's impacting my spending habits. He controls me. I'm like his puppet. I'm his puppet. Wednesday night, I take my wife on a date every Wednesday night, and I walk by the restaurant or the business of Miss Stacy Davis, the Alli Balli boutique. I walk by it because we go to Andolini's, and so I walk by it every Wednesday. And then last night we had family night, and we went down to what is the restaurant that is it's further down the road, closer to the Hub Gym. It's right there on the corner.
Upstairs,
a restaurant
downstairs.
bar downstairs.
Sherry's the Italian restaurant.
Yeah, I think so.
And then there's also the Water's Edge Winery, which is about half.
It's on the same side of the road as Andolini's, and it's
it's Water's Edge probably, and
I
they
think
have
that's
really
what
good
it's-
food. They have really good food.
So you got me twice this week, and then we had family coming in
Double
town a
tap.
while back, so we went to Bass Pro Shop. You got to see that.
Double tap.
Oklahoma
Triple
Joe's that go there all the time.
4 tap.
Hobby Lobby, that whole development that wasn't around before.
No.
Did that impact your decision to be in downtown Broken Arrow? If these things were not in Broken Arrow, do you think, Stacy, that you would have considered being downtown Broken Arrow?
Well, obviously, you want to be in a place that's growing and there's people and it's thriving. So having all of these places here is definitely something you take into consideration.
If you had moved here to take the job, if you as a couple had moved here for your husband to take the job, and there wasn't a downtown Broken Arrow as it is now, where would you go? Where would you have gone?
I'm not sure. I wanted to be close to home. We considered looking in Tulsa, but we really just love Broken Arrow, and I want to be somewhere where we love.
Stacy, why don't you have more of a northern accent? I mean, what's up with you?
I can't believe that you don't think so. Everyone always asks where I'm from, not where anyone else in my family
every now and then
is
you
from,
say a little
just where
something.
I'm from, they ask.
I mean, because up north, Clay, give her an up north accent.
Oh, don't you know, Dr.
No.
Z, on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show, Bjorn and I are going to go up north.
From the
And
palm of
record
the
a podcast.
Michigan. From the palm of the
Oh.
Michigan.
For cute.
Oh, for cute. I love Lake
for cute.
Michigan.
Yeah, that's kind of the deal.
Yeah. Bjorn.
I'm saying it too
Sven.
fast. Where I'm from in Minnesota, they talk slower too.
Yeah.
So
hot
they-
dish. Do you have hot
Oh,
dishes? Do you have
don't
hot
you
dishes
know.
in Michigan?
Hot dishes,
Do you have a hot dish?
Where you take like soup
like a
and mix it
potluck.
with tater. Yeah, like mix it with tater tots and that kind of thing.
I mean, I guess
Is that what it's? Because
That's the default move in Dassel.
we don't call it a
Minnesota.
hot dish, but
well, that's what Clay called it back when he was a
Do you
kid.
make bars?
no.
You
No.
do individual cookies?
Yes.
Have we talked about this, Mayor? Have we talked about this before?
No, we have not.
In Minnesota,
get
what you
this thing
do,
figured
I don't
out.
know what happened, but in Minnesota, you decided at one point, because of culture, they decided, probably their mayor, the mayor up there.
The mayor runs
of a
everything.
fancy city like Pelican Rapids or
They
something.
set the pace.
They said, here's the deal. We're going to take cookie dough and we're going to put it into a pan, and we're not going to cut it into individual cookies.
No.
Then
No.
we're going to, bake it all at one time,
Right.
and we're going to cut it into perfect squares that we call bars.
Bars.
And that was the move. And
That
since that time, it's almost unethical to take the time to make a cookie.
You won't eat a round. That's why you won't eat a round cookie. I wondered all these years.
It's a thing.
When I hand you a round cookie, you're like, no.
And then there's a weed that grows. It cannot be stopped. It grows in all crazy climate conditions in Minnesota. It can be 20 below, 10 below. It's like bamboo. You can't kill it.
Can't kill.
It's called rhubarb, and it tastes like death. And so we thought, you know what? Let's add some sugar to it and eat that stuff.
Absolutely.
Have you ever had rhubarb before?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Stacy, it's bad. Have you had
Sugar
that
on
there,
my
Mayor?
I've had it.
Do you
yes.
like it?
No, I'm not a big fan either.
Nobody does, but everyone
didn't
eats
have
it. Like,
enough
it's a
sugar on
religious-
it. It's all about the amount of sugar.
Okay, so there's 5 main points I want to get into on today's show. 5
Let's
main
do it,
points.
let's
And
do it.
Z stole one of them from me.
Let's get
The Bass Pro Shop. That was a big game changer.
It was.
2, what role have you had, Mayor, in developing the Rose District? I mean, what have you specifically been involved in? And I want to ask Stacy if this has actually helped her business.
you a rose garden.
Well, I was first involved in 2004 when we started our downtown master plan. So that was how we kind of got it started. But about 7-8 years ago, we started talking about trying to re-gentrify it, and we started it was probably been about 7 years since we did our TIF district. And so that's how we funded the Rose District. We started with $6.5 million in TIF. We spent $6.5 for infrastructure for flight safety, to keep flight safety here. That's how we got that area going. So we started with, we really did start with just a couple blocks, about 3 blocks we did downtown. And then we've expanded that now. We started doing the fountain and the pavilion, and all that was with other money. But that's how we started it. And so I got involved and supported all that from the very beginning. I thought it was really a great idea. I really never expected it to blow up like it has, but I knew we needed to make some investment in downtown because, as I say many times, that you'd go down there before, and if a car was down there on a Saturday night, it's because it wouldn't start. There was nothing down there.
Nothing down there. And then that pavilion, there's kids out there running around there during the summer. Everyone's playing out there. What's going on with the big feed, the big tower?
The grain elevator that was
What's
there.
going on with the big grain elevator?
Someone has bought that. They were had an idea of doing a hotel there and realized it was too expensive, so I don't know what they're going to do with it. But someone does own that now, has bought that from the...
Do we know what it sold for?
I have no idea what it sold for.
I kept telling my wife I wanted to buy that thing.
Sold for?
Seriously, I kept telling my
want
wife
to
I
live
wanted
in
to buy that and put the office at the top of it. It's cool.
That'd be cool.
Isn't it cool?
A silo?
It's I thought it'd be really cool up there. Somehow find a way to put an office.
up- way up there.
It's 160 feet tall. So
Yeah.
they were going to do a rooftop
That's a cool
bar,
deal.
160 feet. You can see it from all over the metro.
I
'cause
can see clearly now. Oh, I'm on the
So,
silo.
Downtown development.
Boom, boom.
What specific portions of the downtown development, Stacy, have benefited your company? Or what is it? Is it the restaurants? Is it the people running around the splash pads down there? Is it the parades and events? I mean, how have you actually benefited the most? What kind of things have benefited you the most?
I think all of those things actually benefit us. Originally I was a little unsure of our location in the Rose District because we're on a side street. I think with that you kind of have to work a little harder to make yourself known. But all the public parking is right by us. So I think, like you'd mentioned, you walk by there.
Every time.
Because you probably park right there.
I do. Every time I park over there and I walk by.
Right. So for
7:30
us,
Wednesday nights.
for us, we have great parking. And
You do.
that's a benefit. So, I think all of those things come into play. The restaurants are always going to bring people downtown. Our hope is that once they leave the restaurants or on their way to the restaurants, that they'll,
How late are
step
you
in.
open?
So right now we're open till 6. We will do summer hours because people will be out later. So we're actually right now in the process of doing another hire. So we'll be open more hours.
What kind of stuff can you sell my wife?
Oh, I could tell your wife some things.
What kind of things?
We have jewelry, we have shoes, we have accessories, we
Wow.
have clothes.
That's
I
nice.
mean,
Wow.
you bring her
So
in.
tell me about the birthday parties. I want to know about that. So
Yeah.
what you said we do birthday parties. What does that look like? I mean, for kids, for adults, what?
Well, it's jewelry, birthday parties for kids. When we started, I knew that I had to do something to differentiate myself from other boutiques because boutiques are kind of like a dime a dozen. So for us, having a venue where people come in and they have a party, a lot of the moms will shop. They'll drop their kids off and they'll shop.
Okay.
We host classes in the summer where they can drop in between the hours of 10 and 2.
Classes for what?
For jewelry making. And
Oh,
so
wow. Okay, cool.
while they're back there doing that, again, they'll shop. Being new to the area and not having a large friend circle or group of people to support me, I knew that we had to do something a little bit different to stand out. So that's helped us tremendously. So many people have said, we didn't know you were here. They come in and then they shop.
I love that though. You were 8 years online. You moved to Broken Arrow. You open up a brick and mortar store.
Yep.
And now 2 years into it, you're rocking, you're doing well. I just love that. I love capitalism. I love free enterprise.
Oh, capitalism. Say it again.
I love again. Say it.
Capitalism.
Capitalism.
Just real quick. Just real quick. Just throw it out there. I'm just gonna
Capitalism.
I'm gonna marinate on this for a second.
I just wanted to say that you were online. Thank you, Al Gore.
Thank you, Alvin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you send him your check, Al Gore, because that's his deal. But you were online and you said, after 8 years, I want to go somewhere where I'm loved, appreciated, welcomed, where I can make a living.
Minnesota?
No.
Oh.
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Because we have a wonderful mayor who has paved the road for entrepreneurs to come in here. And
it's business friendly.
Business friendly. That's what it is, really is. And now you've come down here and done brick and mortar.
Yep.
Because everybody's like anti brick and mortar, right? I mean, Sears shut down. I mean, all these, Kmart. I mean, all those companies are shutting down that are traditional brick and mortars. And Jeff Bezos, who's a great guy, I'm sure. I think he's doing okay. I don't know. This whole Amazon thing. I'm not sure he's going to get out of his grandparents' or his parents' garage.
He'll make it for one more quarter.
You think?
I'll bet for one more quarter.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a big
Who wants to
Amazon.
bet on that? But my point is, everybody's thinking online. And you come on the show and say, you know what? I did online for 8 years, and now I'm doing brick and mortar for the last 2 years in a business-friendly environment in a cool place that has a lot of foot traffic, has a lot of people walking around, a lot of people that are like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, and you do these birthday parties, you do jewelry stuff, you do all the kind of shoes and purses, and it's kind of fun to see someone that's, on the ground floor of that entrepreneur level of stuff, hitting it out of the park. I applaud you, and I'm going to clap right now.
Oh no! Oh,
That's
nice!
clapping. That's good
Absolutely,
I'm now
absolutely.
clapping.
You're getting
I'm
some
now
momentum there.
clapping.
The crowd's going wild. Now, see, the point number 3 I want to get into is a mayor can really screw up the lives of their citizens.
Well, they can.
You see this in the news a lot. You see these mayors in California that are passing just absurd, insane, crazy laws. There was an actual article that I had read. This was about 2 years back. True story. There was a gentleman in California who was doing some remodeling, and he decided to remove a tree that was a dead tree, but it was still there physically. And I guess in California, it could be like a criminal violation of some kind if you remove the tree without running it by the right people.
Right.
And he was new to California, wasn't aware of these kinds of things. So he actually broke the law without knowing he was breaking the law to remove a tree that he thought was a nuisance. And then recently, as recently as 2 months ago, a tree that everybody knew needed to be removed didn't get removed, and it ended up falling on somebody's house and injuring people. The mayor can really make laws that slow things down. They can impede the development. What could you do, Mayor? If let's say that I got elected as mayor of Broken Arrow, and I am the antithesis of you. I am an antagonist to all things that you are in favor of. What kind of things could a mayor do to really screw up a local city?
Well, I think the first thing you want to do is you want to be difficult to business. You want to pass more regulations, more ordinances, and make it a lot harder for business. It's really the government's job to get out of the way of business. And the same thing with the citizens. Let them live their life. Get out of their way. Let them do what they want to do. You've got to protect them and do the right things and give them a good quality of life. But those are the things you could do. Is main thing is just pass a lot of ordinances like they do in other cities where we see and make it really difficult for business and difficult for the citizens.
Yeah. Mayor, why do you think people do that? I mean, because study after study after study show that ultimately that is not healthy for a community. Why do you think people do that?
Well, I think some of it is power. People think they can just make rules.
Sure.
Some people actually believe that socialism is better than capitalism, and I don't think it is. So with rules and regulations and having more rules and regulations, I don't think personally, I think that's completely wrong. I think you've got to let business operate, and you've got to let people do what they want to do and not over-regulate. You've got to keep people safe, which is very important that we do in our community, is keeping people safe. But beyond that, you don't really, You don't need a lot. You have to have permits. You've got to have rules, some rules, but you don't want to over react. And that's what happens so often is that people make rules just because they can. And they make it difficult for people, and they add cost. They want you to pay for them to poorly run government. It doesn't have to be run poorly.
Yeah.
It needs to be run efficiently and run well.
Right.
And so, but when you start having financial problems, and it's really tough in Oklahoma because we're the last state that cities run on sales tax. So it's really hard. Our budgets are really difficult to do, but people try to offset their budget by just making more regulations that charge more money, and pretty soon you're taking people's money. And I think it's been shown nationally where we've had some tax cuts over the last few years, and our budget has actually gone up in our federal budget. It's the same thing with the cities. If you let people spend their money in the community, your budget will go up.
Yeah. May I give you a hug when the show's over? I just want to hug you right now. Is that possible?
Yes.
I've never hugged a mayor. I mean, is that weird? I just want to.
Now, you did support Bridenstine quite a bit from the very
Well,
beginning.
he wasn't a mayor.
But
He's not a mayor.
just
He ran
saying,
for Congress.
he's now the head of NASA. And
Yeah.
you were an early
I've hugged him
adopter of him.
I've hugged him a lot.
Did he send you a little miniature space shuttle when he got chosen to be the head of NASA?
I want to keep our personal life personal.
Okay.
That's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So now I want to ask you, how can a mayor bankrupt a city? Because, Stacy, you know this in your business. What would be the tips for bankrupting your business? I mean, because you're kind of in that 2.5-year zone of brick and mortar where hopefully it's less scary now.
Right.
But, is it less scary now, or is it, is it still scary?
Well, it is still a little scary, but we actually seen 30% growth over our second year, which means that people are, they know about us, they're referring friends.
People are coming back.
They're coming back.
Really great. By the way, great apparel on your website here. If everybody goes to ALLI BALLI boutique, so AlliBalliBoutique.com, you've got great stuff up here. This is some good stuff.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Seriously,
Do you need any male models? Because Clay,
I
if
want-
you have
I- well,
anything that
I'm just I know
would support like a big head,
I think my wife would like
he could
this
be
stuff.
like a
I
big
think
head
she
model.
would.
If you have a size 12 hat, I'll come in there and buy one.
there you go.
But no, you've got some great. This is some great stuff here. So, I mean, but what would be the tips if you wanted to bankrupt your business? What would be like your tips?
If I wanted to bankrupt
Yeah,
it,
if the goal was, hey, you know what, real quickly, I'm going to screw some stuff up. What would be like, tip number one for ruining a business?
well, I think for me, when we started, I felt like people initially came because they liked what I had, but growing relationships with your community and with people helps you grow your business. So I guess if I just had the attitude that, I don't care what people's price point is, I don't care about them, I just want to sell what I want to sell, we've had to adjust over these past couple of years, everything from our price point to what we sell. So if you're not flexible, if you don't care what the community wants, I mean,
There it
all of
is.
those things will bankrupt
Well,
you.
I mentioned this because I have a very good friend of mine, and we all know who I'm talking about, Mayor, but we won't mention his name. He has told me specifically
What?
that from a growth perspective,
Who?
I can't tell you.
What?
And we're talking about
It's a he. So that. You know what? Out
We're
of
talking
7
about-
billion people. That knocks out three. That
I'm
knocks
going to
out
mention.
half of
I'm just
them.
saying there's about $30 million to $25 to $30 million a year of development that this person has decided to take out of a specific city and move to Broken Arrow because of the jackassery of their reverse approach to customer service.
Sure.
There's certain cities around us that they treat the citizens as though they're a nuisance and not a valued customer. They treat the customer who's the boss. In local government, the citizens are the boss. They treat them like they're a nuisance, and it's like almost like they're going through a textbook that has been written by Stacy. It's Stacy's tips. Stacy says, "I run a very successful company, but I've written a book and given you
how
tips
to
on how
repel.
to repel business."
Right.
Tip number 1: do not listen to your customers, aka citizens. I've seen this.
Did you say something?
And then step 2 is what spend more would be spend more than you bring in. Is that a good tip? Is that a pro tip to bankrupt a company?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see local
That
cities,
sounds like our government, by the way.
and then they do is they just keep raising prices, and aka taxes, over and
Right.
over until people move out, and they seem
Government.
shocked that people want to move out. So I want to ask you this, Mayor:
Shocker,
what
Connor.
are you doing to be pro-business? Because I keep hearing people say, "Oh, I moved to Broken Arrow because they're pro-business," but what does that mean?
Well, I think it's real important to be, again, to get out of the way of business. Let them do business. Don't make a lot of regulations that aren't needed. So you only make the regulations that are needed. And also, you want to make sure that that you're very transparent in how you spend taxpayers' dollars and spend it very efficiently.
I love the story.
And so that's something that we do with our OpenGov, where you can see how much money we spend on every little item. So that's important to see. So, I mean, being transparent is really important. Being pro-business and spend the citizens' money and treat the citizens as a customer. We always talk about our citizens, and one of our, as we talked about our main ideas and how we run our business, how we run our city, is we want to make sure that everyone has good customer service.
Everyone.
So all of our staff are taught customer service is the most important thing you do first. So, and that's really how you make your city successful.
Whoa.
If
Time
other
out. Stop the engine right now. So you're telling me, Mayor,
Wait a second.
you're trying to run this city as if it was a business.
Well, I think you can be a lot more business-like. You can't actually be a business because you're government, but you try to run it like a business.
So you're saying if I'm going to do something that's going to repel people, I shouldn't do it.
That's right.
If you're
That's right.
saying I'm going to do something that's going to attract people, I should do it.
Yes.
If you're saying, you know what, in the long term benefit of the city, I probably should or shouldn't do it. You're looking at that. That's
right. You have to.
What kind of government official are you? I mean, that doesn't.
Are you aware of your job?
Time out. Now, are you? I don't. This doesn't make any sense.
It almost sounds disrespectful to
it
other
almost-
mayors.
It doesn't. It doesn't even make sense. I mean, is this a
See, you
mayor?
you
or
and
is
I've been
this
doing business for a long time.
Right.
Are you 55?
I'm
I'm 39.
Wait. It's hard to keep track of my age because it changes every year.
I'm gonna write that down right there. That's impressive. So every year it changes, but
I mean, every year
I'm
apparently
saying,
it
have
changes.
you ever dealt with antagonistic local governments?
Yes.
And it's just a great thing when
It's
you
a
call your
wonderful-
local city
Oh yeah.
and you ask, this is
Oh,
my,
yeah.
can I impersonate, can we do a little role play real quick where you could pretend to be at most local governments and I will be a business owner?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what kind of things, Mayor, would a business owner need to call their local mayor for, local government for?
Well, you start out when you're building a building. You have to call and get permits and get started and go through that process.
This has happened. Okay. So, Z, I would like for you to call me. You're trying to get a permit. Okay. And no offense to anybody out there named Bjorn Johnson, but I'll be Bjorn Johnson. I'm the local official. And I'm the day of this call that I'm going to receive from Dr. Z is going to be February 24th. That's the day of this fictitious example. Okay. I'm going to
2020.
Yeah, this is the 2020. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
You're calling me. So
Thank
you for calling Bjorn Johnson's office.
Oh, hi, Bjorn. My name is Robert Zellner.
This is not Bjorn.
Oh, okay. You just said it was Bjorn
This
Johnson's
is Bjorn
office.
Johnson's office.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Mr. Office, or what is your name? I didn't catch it.
Carl Stevens.
Okay, Mr. Stevens. We got off on the wrong step. I'm Robert Zellner, and
you previously stated.
Yes, I did. I'm sorry, wasting your time, Mr. Stevens. I bought a piece of property over on that in the corner of you know what.
Great.
And I want to build a building there, and
I'm not Bjorn Johnson.
What do I need to do?
You'll need to speak to Bjorn Johnson.
Okay. Well, is Mr. Johnson in?
No.
Okay. When do you expect him in?
Bjorn Johnson is not available. If you want me to transfer, you can leave a voicemail.
That would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you for calling Bjorn Johnson's office. It's July 4th of 2019. I'm excited to receive your call. I'm on vacation. I'll be back tomorrow. Boop. It's just not
I was over here over a year ago.
It's just not true, though.
No,
it happens every single time. Every time. And then when you get a call back, I'm going to call you back.
Okay, please do.
Here we go. I'm going to call you back now. Here we go.
Thank you.
Is this Robert Zellner?
Yes, it is.
This is Bjorn Johnson.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, I've been waiting for your call for actually
Well,
months.
I just returned from my government holiday. which we have every week.
Oh, well, I'm glad you called me back. Thank you. I've got a situation. I bought a piece of property over at Boop, and I want to build a building on it, and I just want to expedite it and get it going. And what do I
Sure.
need to do to grease the wheels, baby?
You'll need
Come
to
on.
fill out a form,
Okay.
which is called the commercial building application
Okay.
form, which is located
right.
on our website, which is very easy to
I couldn't
navigate.
find it. I looked all
You'll go
over.
to-
I've been looking
You'll
for
need to
months
go to
on your website.
tuscaloosa.edu/K12/MP3.dvd.
Okay, I didn't have that. I'll do
Well,
that.
ignorance is no excuse, sir.
Okay. Well, you know what? Sometimes I've been called ignorant before, but not often. So
I did notice, though, that you have failed to submit your plans in the order was, as stated by statute 47372-90210. Thus, we have a $12 fine, and I'd be happy to meet with you sometime tomorrow to remedy the situation.
Oh, you'll meet with me. Oh my gosh, this is a breakthrough.
Yeah, tomorrow I'd love to meet you.
This is what time are you available?
Well, my schedule's flexible, and I don't really keep a calendar because you know how it is. Both the cable guy and we don't care.
Oh, okay. So, should I pick a time or just show up?
No, I'll show up
What time?
at a time of my choosing. But that's what they do.
That's how it is.
That's how it is. And then they show up.
And
Yes,
I'm not
they
there
do.
because
And
I
you're
didn't
not
know.
there. And then they leave a Post-it note written in some type of Braille hieroglyphics combo
Said you
in the best Spanglish.
I was there.
And then you show up at their office and they say you'll need to leave a voicemail. This goes on and on. And most of the commercial builders that I know, especially the residential builders, they will actually have resorted to just going to someone's office and sitting there. See, I'm sure you've seen these things.
Oh yeah.
Some of my friends who are builders, I ask them, what do you do to get things done? Get it done
Yeah.
quickly. They go,
Yeah.
I will literally block off an entire day
And just go.
and I'll just sit there. And then they have to be super insincere and flowery with their tonality of like, oh, so good to see you, Bjorn
Oh,
Johnson.
my
And then
gosh.
if Bjorn Johnson's
Thank you
having
for
a day,
seeing
a
me.
good day, Bjorn might say, appreciate that. I'm not allowed to accept bribes.
I'm not allowed to accept
they
flowers
brought-
or
yeah,
a handshake.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to shake my hand.
It's like, Bjorn, want to grab a coffee? I cannot take government bribes. I cannot do that.
Yeah, I can't.
Or they'll go, absolutely. Sure, what else do you got?
What else you got?
It's craziness.
It's
You never
absurd.
know. And they're
It's-
not elected most of the time. These people,
Why
they're just...
can't we run government like we run a business?
I think, and I
If
know why.
someone's not
I know
successful
why. I know
in doing
why.
their job, you fire them.
I know why.
Why?
I'll tell you why. I'll
Tell
tell
me-
you why
tell me
I
why.
would.
Tell me why.
Well, one, it just ties into the reason why I would never be mayor of Broken Arrow. One, people would not ever elect me. But two, you
have a
don't
big
get
head.
paid anything.
No.
How much do you get paid to be mayor?
0.
Yeah. So what
So
kind
why
of
do you
a
want to
sick
do
freak?
it?
Why?
What in the world is going on here?
Well, I think that's the advantage that I have over people that are getting
Doesn't
paid.
make any sense.
Is the reality is that we can do things right and we can do things to make a difference in people's lives and not be.
I don't understand
and
you.
you're not paid.
Whoa, time out. So you're saying you really care?
Well, you've got to.
Never seen it.
and that's important. That's how
George
that's
Washington
how we make a
been dead
difference.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, I have prayed for and I have thought about our founding fathers, and particularly George Washington.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, about men that had choices, and decided to do what was best. Did for the country.
Yep.
You're doing what's best for your city, i.e., Broken Arrow.
Doesn't make any sense, by the way.
And no, I love it.
I do too.
It inspires me. It gives me hope.
Yep.
And I've always applaud those men, even though President Washington, never actually heard my applause because apparently he was dead a long time ago.
This just in.
That's what they say. I don't know. He could still be around.
He could be.
He could be.
We don't know.
Because I think him and Michael Jackson and
Tupac
Elvis.
and Elvis.
I think and Elvis are having like a super party right now.
with George
they're-
Michael.
And just having a great time.
Careless Whispers.
Oh yeah. Careless.
It's the best
But-
song ever.
Ever, you think?
It's one of my favorite.
Okay. Well, there you go.
It's my theme song.
There you go. So my point is, I applaud you,
Yeah.
and I say, well done. And this young lady, Stacy, over here, one right of you, is a perfect example of someone that has moved into the community.
Yeah.
Said, you know what? I believe in what's going on. I'm excited about what's going on. I'm going to invest Because that's one thing. One thing is to sit back and go,
Oh, good
I'll
job.
I'll walk around the Rose District
Yeah.
and maybe
Oh, yeah.
buy some, maybe,
Accoutrements.
or maybe buy a dinner, maybe going
Sweet
to this,
potato fries at that one place I went to
look,
last night.
there's an ice cream
good.
store over there. How cute is that?
Gelato.
But to say, I'm going to rent space, I'm going to invest money, and I'm going to take a chance.
Take a chance on me. Take a chance on me.
Because first in line. I wish we knew the words, because that would have been been great. I know. And we were.
Sorry, I'll work more on it. Almost there. We're almost in sync.
So I think that is one of the, getting a big box like Bass Pro Shop
yeah.
is pretty cool.
Yep.
But getting the small mom and pops to buy in to the vision of what you're doing in downtown Broken Arrow, the Rose District,
Yeah.
and saying, hey, listen, because I'll promise you this, percentage-wise, she's risking more than the billionaire that owns Bass Pro Shop.
Right. Yes.
You know that,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
This lady right here, she's like the little woman that gave the little mite, that gave more percentage-wise than someone that gave a lot of money that's the billionaire, right? And so I applaud you, Stacy, and thanks for coming in. Thanks for doing what you're doing. And thanks for saying, you know what? I believe in this area. I want to do this. I'm glad you did a hostile takeover of spaces, ran them off, and you did your thing.
Yeah.
And now when you tell people, why should somebody come and shop in your space? Give everybody a pitch why. I mean, why?
Why should we? We have
why
money.
should we spend our hard-earned money?
AlliBalliBoutique.com.
Give it to you.
Come on.
Well, first of all, we have really cool stuff.
True.
But
Oh, that's nice.
But honestly, I'm a people person. The people that work for me love people. And so I just think that's really important is, to know your customers, to love your customers.
Yep.
And again, we have really cool stuff. And just to clarify, it really wasn't a hostile takeover.
I
just
know.
took over her
I
lease.
love that.
Okay,
I
I
know.
don't want anyone
It's
to
a
think
fun
I'm
term.
mean.
Oh.
So, Mayor Craig, why should people be bullish on Broken Arrow? I mean, why? Somebody out there thinking, hey, I want to stand up a shop. I want to pick Oklahoma because it's really sexy. And yet, what town am I going to go to? Maybe Broken Arrow. Why?
I think that for one, Stacy's having the local business that is a mom and pop business is what makes us unique, because we have a lot of local businesses that so you can shop here. You can shop in someplace different than you would, that isn't the mainstream, that isn't a chain. So that's what makes us unique. But we do have the public safety that one of the safest cities in the safety in the state, one of the safest cities in the country. We have quality of life here. We have a lot of reason to be here. So and then we have the opportunity to make money here, which 'cause people do come down the Rose District, do see things, and it just builds upon itself. And I think businesses like Stacy's are so important because they're the ones that people come to and shop at, and they see something different than what they'd see anywhere else. And same thing with a lot of our restaurants are different. They're local restaurants. They're not a chain. So it's really important that people come here and invest their money in our community, and that's what makes it strong. The more people invest, the stronger it gets.
I have one more point I want to hammer home today.
Oh, you got to hammer?
Point number 5. And
You
this is
hammering?
one.
Is this hammer time?
Well, I just want to
Wait.
get into this because
Wait,
we
should we put on our what are those pants they used to
Hammer
wear? Those
pants.
Big,
Hammer
the
pants, yeah.
What were
pants.
those? Balloon? What were those things called?
I think they were called balloon pants.
Really?
Yeah.
They were I think they're parachute pants.
Parachute
Thank you.
pants.
Parachute
This just
pants.
in from our home
Devin,
office. Thank you, Devin.
Thank you, Devin. So put your parachute pants on and go to hammer time.
So here we go. So Stacy, your husband works in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Probably the same reason that I work in business. You do those things for love of people. It sounds, I don't know what it sounds, but that's why we do what we do. I could stay online. He could work a secular job, and he has, but we just love what we get to do.
Was he in ministry before you married him?
He has always been in ministry since we dated. He did take a break, and he went, and did
Where'd you guys meet?
at church.
At church?
Well, actually, I knew his family. I worked for his family for years and years and years, but I met his family at church. And
So
then
I just want to
met
make
him.
sure we're getting this because there's a lot of parallels between what your husband has chosen to do and what Mayor Craig has chosen to do. I just want to kind of get this. When he told you that he wanted to go back into ministry, you have to know that there are certain economic realities of that.
Correct.
Did that bother you at all?
No.
No. And so you're 100% in support of this.
Yes.
Is he 100% in support of your business? I mean, do you guys?
Yes, I couldn't do what I do without him. He is a big cheerleader for me.
So I think this is powerful though, because somebody, and again, I always have to take the side of the not that Satan needs an advocate, but I have to be like the devil's advocate on this show, because otherwise there's somebody out there wanting to ask the question that we're not going to ask. So I'm going to ask this question: what's in it for you? What's in it for you, Mayor Craig? And I want to ask you as well, there, Stacy. But what's in it for you, Mayor Craig, to work for free? I mean, honestly, what is the thing? And I'm not saying you've been dishonest. I just want to know. Let's get down to the marrow. What is really?
Let's get down in the
because
nitty-gritty.
I agree with what Dr. Z was talking about the great founding fathers and people that truly believe they were called to be civil servants. I believe the word vocation does mean calling in Latin. I do believe that. What is it that's driving you to do this for free? You're not even getting paid. In ministry, you're making a little. I mean, not great, as Stacy, I'm sure, can testify. I mean, you're not doing it for the money, but you make nothing, which turns out to be very little. What motivates you?
Well, I think the opportunity to serve people and make a difference in our community. We don't really, as I've said many times, we don't have that opportunity. Not many people in our community get the opportunity to make a difference in a lot of people's lives. We have 115,000 citizens here, and I get that opportunity to make a difference in their lives on a daily basis. And that's not something that we really get that opportunity very often to do. So that's why I do it. I think it's important that we do that.
For those that don't know your story, who haven't heard any of the shows with you yet, tell Dr. Z why you decided to get involved in local government for the first time.
Well, there were actually two reasons. One, I work in construction, and I knew that we need to be business friendly, and that's one thing that Broken Arrow used to be the most difficult city to develop in. Now other cities in our metro have taken that title. And then I also had an adopted daughter who got shot in the head, and and she survived. And Oklahoma doesn't have an attempted murder law. So she was 15 years old, and I had an opportunity to go to the Capitol and to lobby and get a law passed, because her shooter got 2 years in prison, that someone that
2 years.
2 years in prison for assault with a dangerous weapon. And so we passed a law that said if you discharge a firearm and commission a felony, and we had a lot of people that I wanted something a lot stronger, but
if you discharge a
firearm and commission a felony, and assault's a felony,
yep,
you get 10 years mandatory, no parole. And they called it the Brandy Thurmond law after my daughter. So I think that's, and I learned that I can make a difference at that point. That I heard all my life you can't fight City Hall. Well, I learned I could actually go make a difference. I went to Oklahoma City and got a law passed. I had someone ask me in the lobby there, how long have you been a lobbyist? It's like, I'm not a lobbyist. Well, that's really what I was doing. I was lobbying to get this law passed, and we passed this law, and I learned I can make a difference, and that we needed to be more business friendly in our community, and we needed to focus on public safety. And so 2 years after that law passed, I had an opportunity to run for office, and many people encouraged me to do it, and I did it.
You chose to be the change that you wanted to see.
Yes.
And you chose to, rather than lament and complain, you chose to be a solution-oriented person. So I want to ask the same question here for Stacy, and maybe it's a two-part question. But what drives you to grow your company, Alli Balli? Like, what is it truly at the core? Because you could go down the street and get a job as sharp as you are. You could get a job being a manager of a big store, of a big business that already exists. So what drives you to put yourself through the personal punishment and the delayed gratification and the discipline needed to run your own thing? Why are you doing this Alli Balli boutique?
Well, I think when you're an entrepreneur, you just first of all, you don't really want to work for anyone else. I've always enjoyed working for myself, and I wanted to be in the community. So, I just took the leap and did it and love it, and I won't look back.
Why does your husband want to do ministry?
Well,
I sincerely don't get it, and I just want to know. I'm not being facetious. I want to know.
I think it's for some of the same reasons that the mayor wants to do what he wants to do. It really is to serve people. I mean, there's not a lot of other reasons why you do ministry.
Right. You're right. You do, and it's honorable, and it's an honorable profession. Just like with the mayor.
Yep.
And so how much longer do you want to be the mayor of Broken Arrow? Is that a fair question?
Well,
what are you thinking?
I want to do one more term, 4 more years.
Is there a term limit?
There is not a term limit. That's
Really?
That's why that's what I call voters. I mean, voters are the term limit. If they don't want you anymore, then
good point.
Then you get voted out. But I would like to do 4 more years as the mayor, and we still have a few more things we want to do, like the Innovation District. Several things we want to get done. I'd like to get some of those things done.
The Innovation District.
Innovation District.
Okay.
That's your number one. I mean, if we elected you to be the mayor for 4 more years.
4 more years.
You could wave a magic wand.
4 more years. 4 more years.
And you could wave a magic wand.
A magic wand?
No, wand. Yeah.
Thank you.
Make something happen. What would it be?
I think, the Innovation District would is our number one thing. I think it's so important because that's an opportunity for kids to be able to work in R&D in different industries and be able to get a job here and not leave and have to go to another city to be employed at a really quality company. So that's the best thing that I think we can do for our youth is give them an opportunity to be able to stay here and live local and have a good career.
You two both are just an absolute inspiration, Z. I mean, it just awesome. You sense the sincerity here.
I do, and I love it. And I love success stories. I love people taking lemons and making wonderful lemonade.
Yep.
And the mayor has helped with
taking a lemon of a downtown.
Well, what he's done is in his tenure is he's made Broken Arrow a better place.
True.
For a number of reasons. And he's let people like Stacy say, you know what? This is a good place, a safe place, a wonderful place to plant my flag and to spend money, to take a chance. And, opening up a brick and mortar business is not easy. And there's some scary components to it.
Truth.
Right?
Yes.
And it's like, I don't know, but you know what? I feel good enough with what's going on to do it. And I love that. That's the American dream happening. And the American dream happens because men like Mayor Craig has said, you know what? I'm going to pave the road. I'm going to build this road. I'm going to help pave it. And then I'm going to hope and pray that people want to come down that road and do their thing. And that's what people like you have done.
Yep.
That's what big business has done. Little businesses have done. And I don't want to say yours is little, but, compared to a Bass Pro Shop. Yeah, I mean, it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to, it's not this and that. But I'm just saying it makes people that have a business feel more comfortable to take the chance. And that's what it really is a chance.
Yes.
Mayor Craig, final question for you. If I'm thinking about voting for you again, when is the next election and where can I learn more?
It's going to be April 6th of 2021. So
April 6th.
April 6th is the next election, and
Right around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner. Not very far off. And then I have a website that you can go to.
Cool.
That I'm sure that.
So if we just do a Google search for Mayor Craig Thurmond, we
Right,
can find your website.
right,
You're on
yes.
Facebook, all those kind of things.
Yes, yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you. Your stories are admirable. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us here in the Man Cave. And again, we're just so excited about your growth of your business, Stacy. Mayor Thurmond, thank you so much for making it easier for me to take my wife on dates in a nice environment. I mean, thank you for making downtown Broken Arrow great. Before you, I used to have to drive 25 or 30 miles to take my wife on a date.
Well, maybe that.
He's been reducing my drive time significantly.
Or 2.5 hours to go to a Bass Pro Shop because I know how much your wife loves, perusing a Bass Pro Shop.
I'm not kidding. Before the Broken Arrow was developed, our date nights consisted of us driving down to 21st and Peoria area, I think maybe.
Or
over
maybe
there.
McAllister or some Muskogee or something. I mean,
Midtown.
yeah. I mean, the point is that what's fun is that you see the local government
great.
reaching out and making it better.
It's great.
And they had the bones were there, and I see these downtowns getting revitalized. A lot of them aren't. And when you see the ones that are, you just want to just clap and go, well done.
Well done, baby.
So well done, Mayor Craig.
Well, let's end today's show with a boomsy. Are you
Why
prepared
not?
to end with a
Why
boom?
not?
Mayor Craig, are you prepared to
I
end with a
am.
boom?
Let's do it.
Stacy, are you prepared?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. And 3, 2, 1.
Boom.